Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to another Antares Shipyard live stream. This will be episode 3 of the Captain's Table. Excuse me. This is Live Long and Prosper. We're going to be going over the Vulcan faction pack for tonight. I have my guest host, David Montgomery from the Shipyard, along with a special guest that is Chris Peters, better known online as Crazy Vulcan. He is the guy who was originally doing Utopia and did a lot of work with the Tabletop Simulator mod for Attack Wing. So I'm glad to have those two guys on. As always, we're going to take a deep dive into the cards for the Live Long and Prosper faction pack. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird tonight. My allergies have been kicking my butt lately. But the show must go on. So we're going to take a deep dive into these cards. We're going to look at the card abilities one at a time. We're going to look at the combos that exist and the weaknesses that some of these cards have, the strengths that these cards have, and where they kind of fit in today's game. I do thank you guys for tuning in to watch. Please feel free to comment in the community chat there. We will be watching that as well. But having said that, let's get these guys brought in. All right, gentlemen, we are live. I have with me David Montgomery. How are you doing, sir? Yeah. Just trying to get these few faction pack videos out before anything else happens. And then we have with us the crazy Vulcan himself, Chris Peters. How are you, sir? Well, allergies, it's that time of year. Other than that, I'm great. Alright, so we have prefaced what this episode is about. We're talking Vulcans. So I don't see any other reason, but we can go ahead and get right on into it. So the number 1 card for the Vulcan faction pack is the USS Tecumseh. It's a Nebula class, dual faction, Federation Vulcan, 4144, Tech Weapon Crew, 22 points, good point value there. All Vulcan captains, admirals, and crew upgrades equipped to the ship are at -1 SP. So we got a bit of a discount. When the ship performs a scan action, place an additional scan token besides this ship. So we've got a pretty neat built-in ability there. David, how about you talk about this card first? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Got a problem. For some reason, okay, say something. Nope. Nope, still not good. What is going on? OBS is not capturing my desktop audio. Why not?
Don't you have it set for
Hey, there we go.
Discord as a source? There you
We're
go.
good. We're good.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and start over. I'm sorry.
All right. Yeah, the Tacumbra. So I always lose something when I repeat myself, but I will try to get there. I really like what this brings to the table. I don't. It doesn't give me the same magic that the Sutherland does, but it is still a really good option, especially for Vulcans. You start looking at captains like T'Pol from this set, and we'll get into her, but Vanek is another nice one. All of your Vulcan Federation upgrades cost 2 less points. Um, Solok as a
Yep.
captain is a natural fit, so that you get a free scan action. Now you're getting an Ox Power token for that, but you know what? You can deal with that. Uh, Vulcans are kind of specialists at dealing with auxiliary power tokens. So,
Yep.
and every Vulcan crew just kind of felt a little overpriced, at least before this pack. So getting them at 1 point less, even their old weapons and tech, just makes them feel better.
That's true. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a great ability. The problem is I think the top half isn't as useful as the bottom half. I think the top half is really nice for getting those kind of efficient like point reductions. Everyone likes point reductions. I think this being able to stack scan tokens, especially with a cloak heavy opponent,
Yeah.
does wonders.
Yep.
Like even just like if we take the Tacumbra versus the Sutherland, like if you take Will Riker and Sulu, you're adding those 3 evades. Well, suddenly if you have like 4 evade tokens or 3 scan tokens next to your ship, you're only rolling the 1 defense dice and canceling 1. Which really isn't that impressive.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking Tacumba versus Sutherland, I think everyone's going to pick the Sutherland all day, every day. Um, but I do like the Tacumba itself. The second ability I find pairs well with a card maybe like Beta Hirogen,
Mm-hmm.
where you're
Yeah.
increasing the captain's skill +1, and then on top of doing a scan action, you're getting two more scan tokens. So you're gonna have 3. I mean, you can cut cloakers down. I think that's mainly what this ship's gonna be. Is kind of it's gonna be the ship, and a lot of the cards that are in this pack are geared towards taking on some of those cloakers with the scan tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I really think that's what I try when I'm building with the Tacumbra. I try and use Beta Hirogen in there somewhere, only because the ship's ability is exactly the same. It's the same wording. Um, so you have to use the action to get both tokens. And I think,
Right. But then it's one action for 3 scan tokens.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
Put Catherine Janeway on there, you get a 4th scan token for free, 1 action, just costs a Scox token.
yeah.
Ooh.
And your initiative 8.
Okay.
No,
I
that's
like it.
yeah. Um,
I
but
like it.
I don't really think there's much else to say. I mean, the Tacumba itself is a good ship. Um, I wouldn't say that there's too much other than cards that are in this pack that you can pair with it. So I'm okay to have us move on to the next card.
Yeah.
Well, the generic Nebula. I think I only put this in here because the slot layout. The slot layout's a little different for those who play
Having 2
Alliance.
weapon slots.
Yeah, yeah. We already knew that the Nebulas were already recosted down thanks to the starter set. But yeah, I think I just left this in here just for those Alliance players. Tech, 2 weapon slots, and a crew. Could be useful there. The next ship up on the docket here is the USS Intrepid, Constitution class.
Mm-hmm.
3143. Dual faction Federation Vulcan. Tech Weapon Crew 20 points. Free action. Place an Aux Power token beside the ship and target a friendly ship within range 1 to 2. Place a scan token. Excuse me. Place a scan token and an evade token beside the ship and the target ship. Wonderful. Chris, do you want to start with this one?
Let's be blunt here. Everyone's going to buy this pack for this ship. This is probably going to be the biggest game changer you have in the faction. You throw on Sulu on there, suddenly you don't have to worry about doing the green maneuvers, which really limit your dial, and you just
Yep.
basically hand out tokens. Like, token stacking is really powerful. Like, people underestimate the power of the evade token, but the evade token just simply negates one damage, and that's basically as good as regenerating a damage or evading it.
Yeah.
And it's addition to any defense dice that you're rolling. So you throw Sulu on there, suddenly you're rolling 3 defense dice, plus an evade automatic. I think you're pretty tanky ship on its own.
Yeah.
Add in the fact that you're adding scan and evade to a friendly ship within range 1 to 2, and suddenly those ships are adding their scan modifiers and evade tankiness. Like, this ship is like the most effective way to kind of bulk up and defend your fleet.
I agree with you. I actually ran a copy of the Intrepid in the latest season for Fremont Reformation, and it did fairly well. I think actually, yeah, we played each other,
We did.
and it fared fairly well in that game.
I don't think I managed to kill it. I think I got down to like maybe 2 health
Yeah, well, yeah.
versus my Vulcans.
Versus your Vulcans, yeah. The reason you're here. David, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to find fault in anything that says free action. First off, the only thing I will add is you want some way to deal with that aux power so that you can do more stuff. I mean, of course, you can change. You can do an action, then a free action. But, why live with an aux unless you have a plan for it? So
Yeah.
toss on something like Power Grid, let you just keep doing what you're going to do. But yeah, really, it's that evade token. Now you're less worried about the multi-scan stacking that is taking away your defense dice. You still get a defense at the end of the day, and that's something that I think we all need to be paying attention to. To
Yep.
say, all right, what do I have at the end of the day if I have no dice to roll? Do I still have a means of canceling damage?
Yeah.
And the Intrepid's giving me something, which is a fantastic. Uh, it's a fantastic ability because it helps my offense and my defense at the same time, and it's doing it on 2 ships. So I
Yep.
like it. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I see that Chris just dragged out Pavel Chekhov. Um,
Yes.
And I
he's
think you use this combo very effectively in our game.
I did. Yep. There's a new one. I did change my build because we have the new Benjamin
Yes.
Sisko. That Benjamin Sisko, well, his top half of his text is great and all. The bottom half is what I'm focused on with this ship. Because end phase, he just chucks that aux power that you just got right out the airlock. It doesn't matter to him. And I think that's great. That's the combo that I'm rolling with, I think, for this season. I know I'm probably giving away too much. But chat did touch on a combo that I was also thinking about here. And it is, so this combo is not going to be with this ship, but you put Gold Ducat, say, on Gold Ducat's Bird of Prey. The Intrepid is giving Gold Ducat exactly what he needs to set off his ability. He's giving you that scan and that evade.
Mm-hmm.
So he can convert up to 3 battle stations into 2 hits by spinning those tokens. So I think that's probably something strong. A strong ability to pair with the Intrepid. I like the two being buried together that way. Other combos. I mean, you've got Mr. Spock, the crew version of Mr. Spock, because we're talking scan tokens. He's always going to be around if you got scans.
Hmm.
Um, you could load the Intrepid up with Type 8's upgradeds because it is a Federation ship. Throw Mr. Spock on there, and you're converting battle stations to hits. You'll need another weapon slot, or someone to give you another weapon slot, but that's not too hard.
That's the old Sakona.
Yep. So let's pull out the next card. Oh, I got the generic Constitution here. Weapon, crew. Nothing too spectacular there. 16 points. Next ship in the pack is the the Kirshara. It's a Takir class. 3-1-5-4. When attacking, during the modified attack dice step, if there is a scan token besides this ship, convert up to 2 battle stations into 1 hit each. 24 points. David, how about you take this one?
Yeah, this is another ship that says, "Hey, Intrepid, help me out here." It doesn't even have to spend its main action doing scan. It certainly can, but now you're free to target lock. That way you have more quality. This is a ship that doesn't have to have a ton of combos to make it work well. It just kind of works by itself, and
Yeah.
that's something we didn't used to be able to say with the Vulcans. So yeah, I'm liking the Kishara.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, do you got anything to add on that?
I'm liking it as well. I think the ability just is a good passive ability. I mean, as a Vulcan, you're going to want to have the scan tokens, and just not have to worry about having to have a battle station to spend is really nice. Just to be able to say, okay, I rolled blank battle station crit. Well, at least that's a hit crit.
Yeah.
Without having to spend any additional mods.
Yeah, that's true.
I just wish there was a way to pump up more dice you're throwing with the Kishara, because at most you could probably pump it up to 6 primary weapon value, maybe a secondary weapon or here or there that might do some damage.
Yeah.
But I just need to throw more dice to really use that ability, I think.
That is also a good point. There are ways to do it, but nothing that's coming directly to mind at the moment. I mean, I guess you could run Tactical Station.
Fed torpedoes, like the only
Yep.
thing I thought of is you have the combat variant, which replaces the primary weapon value with 4. That way it's a 5 die attack with the weapon, and then you just simply, whatever you roll, you're at least going to convert 2 battle stations into a hit. So if you roll like a battle station and 3 blanks, at least 2 hits get converted off of that, so. Without
Yeah.
having to do anything addition to.
Yeah. Well,
This could actually be a place for experimental torpedo bay. Bring in one of those 5 dice weapons.
Yeah.
It's still not fantastic, but it's at least an option. And since Vulcans and Fed are the same, they don't, or at least they don't incur faction penalties.
Right.
You're not paying you're paying 2 points for that.
Yeah.
Right.
And this just says when attacking, it doesn't say primary weapon only. So.
Exactly. And I think this really takes advantage, that would really take advantage of the Dakar's 270-degree arcs of firing capability.
That
Yeah.
too.
Yep. Yeah, I think experimental torpedo bay is a good choice. I mean, it's gives you access to those older torpedoes that have a higher value because you put Fed torpedoes on it. It's only a 4 when you could take the old torpedoes, which are 5 or so. That could work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Kirshara. I'm not a big Vulcan player myself. I know Chris. We brought Chris
I
in.
experimented with them.
Yeah, we brought Chris in because he played mostly Vulcans in the last Fremont Reformation League, and
It was really just three Dakar classes with autocannons on them, so
yeah.
that's really the entire extent of the fleet.
Well,
It's like,
that, ma-
I
that made you the expert.
yes.
All right. Let's pull up the next ship in the pack is the Vishar. Oh, it's interesting to
Here's a
note.
good one.
It's interesting to note between the two ships here, the point values are different.
Hmm.
The
Well, this has obviously the better ability.
yeah, yeah. So it's definitely interesting how WizKids is considering these point values nowadays versus just a straight formula. Um, so we got the Vishar
I think
class or the Vishar, the Dakir class, 3154, 2 tech weapon crew, different slot layout than the Kashara. Combat phase, spin a scan token besides the ship. The next attack this ship makes with its primary weapon this game round ignores the defending ship's shields.
hmm
That's wonderful.
I have so many things I could do with this. Tasha Yar.
Hey,
Up type 8 upgrade phaser. It just go to town.
Yeah, like it.
yeah. Let me grab Tasha Yar out of the folder. But yeah, Chris, take it away.
Yeah. So there's so much. I think that aside from the Intrepid, this is probably the second strongest ship in the pack, and I think this will see the most play of everything. Getting a scan token on there is easy enough, and the Vulcan faction, just being able to pass scan tokens around with the Intrepid.
Mm-hmm.
You just really need to find some way to get quality, and with having Tashiara on there, you're able to re-roll your dice every other round. Have a 180-degree firing arc, so that makes it fairly valuable. So you have a 5 dice primary weapon, and you're ignoring the ship's shields, which most ships are really shield heavy focused, or they're just going to be naked hull, like 3 or 4 hull. And I think it's easy enough to push damage through. Throwing somebody that really kind of makes it hit hard, like maybe Khan,
Yeah,
from the pack, from the Rylite pack that converts battle stations to crits when you spend a battle station token. I think this is going to do quite a lot of damage.
yeah. Um, I'm looking at the wording. It says combat phase, so you have to spend your token at the start of the combat phase.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, you have to be planning ahead of time to use it. Otherwise, when attacking would have worked there better, I think. But the ship is still strong. The ability is strong. Um, David, what do you got for it?
Well, the more I think about it, the more I want to start pairing this with some Klingons and do the whole like Kang kill, stacking crits on it and just make it hurt.
Yeah.
Uh, I start thinking about things like uh, Joachim or Joachim,
Mm,
Khan's second in command.
yeah.
Whenever you inflict a crit on the enemy ship's hull, draw 2 instead of 1 and choose the one you're
Mm.
going to inflict on them. Not that crits can truly define a game, but there's a few that can alter the game. Um, and
Oh, Jerry, you brought up. Sorry to interrupt you, David. Go ahead, finish
no,
your
you're
thought.
good.
Oh,
Uh,
you know how you mentioned Klingons?
Yep.
Repeat with Fusilati. You mentioned the combat phase is a weird timing window. If you spin it at the beginning of the timing window, that affects the entire combat phase. So every
Oh,
attack in a 180-degree firing arc is going to be ignoring those ship's shields.
that is a good point.
Core on there. Rerolls for days. Sure, it's only 4 dice against each ship, but my goodness, that is a wide range of fire.
That is a good
hmm.
point, and he changed my entire stance with just that one card. No, that's
Told you, I am the Dahar master of my playgroups.
it's true, and we should have had John for the Klingon episode, and I promise you.
Yeah,
Uh,
because targeting all ships is one attack. You're just making
Hmm.
separate rolls to inflict damage. Okay, okay. I see what you did there. I'll buy
Yeah,
that.
the chat's pointing
but
out. Chat's pointing out that's primary weapon.
it does say primary weapon.
Yeah, next attack
Oh,
the ship makes with its
Uh,
primary weapon.
it does say next attack, so it doesn't even chain. Okay, well played, WizKids. Well played.
still, it's a neat idea.
Yeah,
Uh, and I think, but I do think there's something there to, if you watched our Blood Oath discussion, everything that stacks damage, Kang for those 2 extra crits, Kunivas, Chemosite,
Mhm.
you can add in all of those effects. If you really want to make it hurt, add in Nanclis.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Mm.
make it so they're rolling no defense dice. Uh, and when you put those effects in, you can one shot a ship using the Vashar.
Yeah.
That can be a big deal. You know, if you face a lot of Sutherlands, this is the way through it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because what? Well,
I mean, they still have their tricks.
yeah, yeah.
Shield adaptation's still going to work to knock your dice down. The cancellation's still going to be there, but whatever you do squeak through is hurting their hull, and now you only have 4 damage to go through instead of all their shields plus the hull.
Yeah.
Right. And with 4 direct hits in the deck, you're probably good to draw at least one of those.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So,
No, I think the Vishar, good ship, good ability. Let's pull the next card out. So we are going into our first captain here. Captain Murrock. When attacking during the modify attack dice step, if there is a scan token besides this ship, convert 1 blank into 1 hit. If the divinity ship has an independent captain equipped to it, convert 1 blank into 1 crit instead. Skill 7, elite talent slot, 3 points. Um, Obviously, this guy is flavored. He's Enterprise era flavored, geared towards Andorians, as that's the episode they're from. Is the episode where the Andorians and the Vulcans were fighting over that little colony. But David, why don't you take this one away?
yeah, I know slightly outside the purview of what we do, but this card makes me a little sad we don't have an Andorian subfaction.
Yeah,
But aside from that, I love the flavor text. I like the passive ability. Just getting a conversion into a hit because you happen to have a scan. This is, hey, I do more with scan.
yeah,
Um, and it works for every time you attack. So this is another captain you start considering for those multi-attack builds. Anything with additional phaser arrays or the weapon for to boldly go. It's the Defiant only one.
no, the phaser cannons.
Yeah, the phaser cannons. They give you that follow up attack.
Yeah,
But those are the types of things where you want to be thinking. Uh, I don't spend
Hmm.
my scan, so if I can do this multiple times, I'm better off.
right. Yeah,
And yeah, because you're not all that likely to roll a blank each time you attack, but you make multiple attacks, you're going to get it more often than not. I don't want to get into all the dice probabilities, but
yeah. That's a whole other problem in itself.
yeah,
Um, yeah, you definitely you if you're going to use it multiple times, you have to have multiple scan tokens, but that's pretty easy to do with the Vulcans,
it is.
especially with this pack. Um, Chris, what do you think about this card?
I think it's a really strong card. I think for the Vulcans, I think it's just in Federation in general. I can think of a number of ships that this would go handily on and counter for us. Um, I just really like the second ability where you're able to convert a blank into a hit regardless of what you roll, and then if it's a Dorian or it's a not Dorian, but a independent captain, which keep in mind with the sub factions does that not include the other 2 Ferengi and Kazon as well?
Yes.
It does.
Zindi?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're sub factions of the independent, which means they count as independent. So basically, you already have half the field that you're converting to a crit.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if your meta has an issue where you're seeing a lot of Kelvin Hudsons being flown.
Hmm.
This guy does not like Kelvin Hudson. I mean,
Yeah.
he's gonna give you a crit pretty much every time.
Gen Con,
Gen Con, yep.
Car.
Oh,
The
car,
independent fleet captains. They
Hmm.
make your captain dual factioned.
yep. I mean,
So
he's not the end all be all by any means to take them
no.
out, but there's a free crit right there.
Yeah.
That's more reason to run him if that's what your meta's looking like. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, Murok, good card. Definitely, there's a lot of combos out there. A lot of the Vulcan cards are going to be comboing with scan tokens, so we're not. I'm not going to pull every single card that does something with scan tokens, um, just because there's a lot. Um, so Murok, good card. Moving on to the next captain. Next captain in the pack is Solak. Skill 7, elite talent slot, dual faction, Vulcan Fed. There is a reasoning behind why these ships are dual factioned. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to get into it here. Um, his text is perform action step. When this ship performs a scan action, target a opposing ship with a face down maneuver dial. Look at the target ship's maneuver dial and perform a sensor echo action as a free action using the one straight maneuver template, even if the ship is not cloaked, range 1 to 2. Um,
The only time I'm unhappy to see a high skill captain level with a good ability.
yeah. Um, so, Chris, lead us off, man.
Man, great ability. Like just the ability just to do a free sensor echo action. You'd want to have the scan token available before he moves, and then also when you form action step. So, like 7 is that kind of mid plane of like where most people start at captain skill in this game. So I don't think it's too big a handicap. Really wish this was on like maybe a 5.
Yeah, I think that boils down to the meta that you're playing and whether you're going to see those high captain skills or not. I know Fremont Reformation League. Once you get up into the higher tiers, that's definitely all you see are the higher captain skills going at it. Um, so Solak could be of use if you're trying to go a different route there. Depends on your meta, I would say. But
Mm-hmm.
David, what do you got for this card?
Yeah, not a lot. The only thing I might suggest is dropping him down in captain skill a little bit. You can bring on a Admiral Q, Admiral Matt Decker,
Mm-hmm.
just to bring him to captain skill 6, and then you're even more likely to trigger his ability, depending on what you face. And again, that's knowing your meta. If you go up against people who run those high captain skills, that's not necessary. But if you find yourself up against people who are running the 6s, 7s,
Yeah,
and not really boosting skill, then you might want to think, hey, I can drop my captain skill and then Solak's going to work more frequently. But I like what's there because, again, Vulcan, they want to scan, and getting a little bit of knowledge about an opponent, where they're going to move, and then being able to adapt to it, that's good. That's a very it's a very high level ability because you have to be able to picture where a ship's going to end up and what those arcs look like. So it
yeah,
can be tricky to use well, but again, with some practice, I think you'll get better using Solok.
yeah, absolutely. And as you said, just reading from the text, I mean, it's gonna happen when you do your scan action. So you gotta target a higher captain skill or another captain skill 7 that has initiative. So you're moving first. Either way, I think dropping his captain skill it would be beneficial. Um, Either like you said through Admiral Q or Admiral Matt Decker. Um, but yeah, I think Solak is great. Anytime you can look at your opponent's dial and then be able to sensor echo away, kind of a reactionary ability. It's good because you could attempt to get out of dodge or out of their arc, depending on where they're going. So I think that's good.
You can also use Gornail for the same
I think I like.
reduction.
That's a good point.
Yeah, isn't Gornail in the attack phase or combat phase?
Activation phase.
Activation. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Because
Up and
I did
down
thought
by
about that.
2. Yeah.
Now it does have to be on an independent ship, so play that how you will. But
Yeah, I mean, throw captured on.
yeah, capture puts Solok on an independent ship.
Yep. Yep. Either way, good captain with the ability.
It is.
Next captain in the pack is T'Pol. Combat phase, choose evade tokens or battle station tokens, and you may spend scan tokens beside the ship as though they were the chosen type of the token this combat phase. Skill 6, elite talent slot, 4 points. For what it's worth in this pack, great ability.
Mhm.
Chris, do you want to take this one first?
Oh, the choice comes down to evade tokens or battle station tokens. I would choose evade tokens every day. Simply, like, especially if you're on like the Tacumbra where you're stacking like, I don't know, 4 scan tokens.
Yep.
Then you just simply say, well, you hit me with 5 attacks. How about you just hit me with 1?
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, nope, an entire attack every time.
Yeah, that's true. I think what the scan tokens. If you're attacking first, the scan tokens you still use as scan tokens, and then if you're defending, you can use those as evade tokens.
Exactly.
So your tokens are getting dual use, which is kind of cool. Um, David, you got anything to add?
Well, I'm with Chris that you typically want to choose evade because there's so many other things that do battle stations better. But yeah, I think this just kind of says you're going to have a really tough time killing this ship this round. Try again next time. There's a lot of counterplay that's going to exist with T'Pol. I think, if anything, that opens up a whole different meta, but I'm not going to go a second layer deep here. Yeah, she makes every ship in this pack better. I like cards like Valeris and Jack Crusher who use, Valeris who gives a free evade, and Jack Crusher who uses an evade to get an extra evade. Because then you're making even more use out of what you have. But you don't need a ton to make T'Pol work. She works exactly as she is.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Those are 2 good cards to pair her with. Beta Hirogen would be another one. Again, getting double scanned for whatever ship she's on, because you're going to want to take a scan action. You know, pair her with the Intrepid,
Close
who's
range
going to
scan
give
on
you
there
another
too with
scan.
the text slot. Yeah,
Yeah.
throw in the close range scans on there for 3 more points, and only like you disable shield, you scan action, disable shield, get a scan token. Beta Roji gives you another scan token. That's 3 right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how many of these tokens the Vulcans can stack, and I don't think it's crazy in a bad way by any mean.
See?
So yeah, T'Pol, again, another solid captain in the pack. I mean, out of all the new faction packs, this one's probably more geared towards itself, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So our next captain in the pack is T'Pau. End phase, if the ship has a scan token beside it, replace 1 scan token with an evade token and a battle station token. The evade token and battle station token gained from this effect do not get removed this end phase. Skill 5, elite talent slot, 4 points. I think it's a pretty cool ability. David, do you want to talk about this one a little further?
Yeah, I like the passive nature of this. I had a really tough time coming up with super combos to go with T'Pau, but she just works.
Yeah.
And for this kind of mid-skilled, slightly expensive captain, but a nice talent holder, um, I, I I love a passive ability that just gives me more stuff that I get to carry through next round, and then I can be tricky with my maneuvers. I can do a come about, a reverse. I don't have to worry about tokens.
Yep.
Um, People can't mess with me acquiring these tokens. They can, of course, remove them, but they're going to have a tough time uh, with that even still. Um, and I like that I'm not telegraphing much of anything because, well, maybe I'm gearing up for an attack, or maybe I'm gearing up for big defense.
Yeah,
T'Pau
that's
gives me a
true.
ton of options.
That's true. You put her on the Tacumbra, you're getting 2 scan tokens, so you're at least gonna have 1 at the end phase. If just in case something happens to the other one, there's not many effects that remove them, but there are some. Um, yeah, I think Tapau's good. I played in a friendly game against Dan Ward. It might have been a couple weeks ago, where he was testing out the new Vulcans, and he wanted to play a friendly game, and we played, and he used Tapau, and Tapau was a thorn in my side, just because I mean, you're not going to do anything other than scan, because you want that scan at the end of the day, and it gives you an evade and a battle station, which you can use the battle station for an attack, or an evade, or defense, and you can use the evade for defense, and he used it fairly well. Uh, Chris, do you got anything to add onto this card?
I will in a minute. Give me a second here.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, I got dogs being dogs.
No, no problem.
No, I think you've all covered all the good points about this card. I think it's a good elite talent holder, and just a really good passive ability.
Yeah, and I mean, there's really no, as David said, there's no super combo to go with Tapau here. She's a really good card that stands on her own. Captain skill of 5 kind of hurts it depending on your meta, really. But there's ways to boost it. So Tapau, again, another outstanding captain in this pack. So now we're moving into crew. And the first crew in this pack is Chulak. Um, Chulak is from the episode of Deep Space Nine where they were having the TR-116 rifle. He's the Vulcan that kind of went crazy when was killing DS9 crew members who were showing emotion in photographs. Um, and Ezri Dax stopped him. So if you're wondering, that's the episode he comes from. Um, his action is free action. Place 3 scan tokens beside the ship. In phase, if you use Chulak's free action, you must discard 1 crew upgrade equipped to the ship. Federation Vulcan dual faction, 2 points. Um, again, this is another one of those stacking scan tokens for the Vulcans, which
Mm-hmm.
is not terrible. It's definitely what the flavor of this faction pack is, and that's not a bad thing. But Chris, do you wanna take this one?
Yeah, sure. I like the free action. You must discard a crew upgrade, including himself. If only at the end phase timing window did it work with against Tellarite Bounty Hunter, that would be a perfect use for that card. Just discard the Tellarite Bounty Hunter, gain out of a token, go on about your day.
Hmm.
Interesting. Let me let me go
Yeah,
pull that
everyone
card.
always forgets about Tellarite Bounty Hunter
I
because
will
nobody
admit
uses
it.
it. Let's see what's this one.
All right, looks like you're pulling it. Okay. Um, yeah, I think that could be interesting. I mean, before I go any further, David, do you got anything to add to it?
Not particularly. Chulak does combo nicely with the Stone of Gaul, and we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
just, or maybe it's not the Stone of Gaul, but
Oh, all right. Yeah, I think you're talking about the arc.
The arc. Yeah, the Catrick arc. It was one of those Vulcan artifacts. But yeah, this is 3 scan tokens is something you start going, okay, how can I really make that work? What's one of those old-timey combos where I used to be able to make it all work off of 1 scan token, and now I need 1 scan token per ability.
Hmm.
And so I start looking at the Enterprise A, and um, I forget different aspects of it because it really has been a very long time since I've done it. But
Yeah.
those kinds of builds, I mean, the Enterprise A herself loves Chulak,
Oh yeah.
just because you get the scan tokens to make it work, and then you can still put on Mr. Spock, and you still have a scan token for a captain or another crew.
Yeah, that's true. Valtane.
Yeah, that's one option.
Ooh. But yeah, Enterprise A. I mean, that's a pretty good combo because you're getting the scan token that you can activate the Enterprise A off of Mr. Spock. That's going to convert your battle stations to hits, and then Valtane to re-roll those blanks. So that's your 3 scan tokens getting used up right there. That's good. You can put them on the Tacambra, and again, ramp up those scan tokens too. Um, the Tacambra will give you the 2, and because this is not it's not a scan. You're not taking a scan action. You're doing Chulak's action because it says place 3 tokens. So you're not actually doing
Mhm.
the action. So you can still do your scan action and then have Chulak go off to get you 3 more scans. So you could build the Tacumber up to 5, which for cloakers is pretty devastating because now you're
Well,
bringing
you can only reduce it down to 3. Rule 3 still applies in
true,
the opposite direction.
true. I mean, it's devastating. 3, 3 defense dice or 2 defense dice versus your 5 or 6, depending on which ship you play.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think Chulak is pretty good. Um, you can also pair him with 1 point crews that you can just toss out the airlock. You don't have to discard Chulak. You discard 1 crew upgrade. So you can have like 1 point crew upgrade off the top of my head. Grilka, you can just toss her.
Yeah. Follower of Khan.
Yeah, toss him. But you save Chulak, and so you can use him multiple times. But as David said, there is another card in this pack that allows you to bring him back too. So let's go ahead and
Yeah.
get into that. Next crew in the pack is everybody's favorite Vulcan engineer from Voyager, Vorik. When defending, place 3 time tokens on this card. Remove a time token or a battle station token besides the attacking ship. Place a scan token besides this ship. Alright, David, why don't you take it away on this one?
I mean, Esri Dax, anyone?
Mm.
And that's going to be the easy answer to anything like this, but it does work because now you want to build Vorik on a ship that draws in fire. So a Colo, a Core 6 makes so that he makes your opponent target you. You can remove their quality. You get your scan, an extra scan, and now when you go to attack, you hit them harder.
Yeah.
So Vorik doesn't need a ton to work, but the more frequently he can go off, the better off you are in terms of making your engine work.
Yeah. That is true. Um, Chris, you got anything to add?
No, I think it's pretty well covered. I think this is better than a Riker maneuver because you could reuse it over and over again, especially if you could use it every other turn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's just I think this is great. I mean, a lot of people like having double mods, so the target lock battle station is always the classic go to for most effective attack. It's going to be a fairly often thing that you're going to have a target lock on you with a battle station token. Like this completely shuts down like Federation torpedoes too.
Oh yeah, especially if you can shake that target lock, you can't use them.
Hmm.
That's a good point. It's definitely got some defensive built into it. I mean, taking away the target lock because that shuts down the new Fed torpedoes, the new Klingon torpedoes, um, pretty much any of the older torpedoes.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's it's definitely a good defensive card. Looking for Riker maneuver here. The chat did point out that Julian Bashir would probably be a good fit over Esri,
Hmm.
just because Julian Bashir's taken away. You remove 2 time tokens, but uh, yeah, I suppose that works. Just thinking of the timing of it. Um, in phase, yeah, because in phase, Vork's gonna have 2 time tokens. Activation phase, Julian Bashir says what time tokens.
Hmm.
You can use Vork at pretty much every turn.
Yeah.
If you
Riker
have all
maneuvers,
three, yeah.
yeah, but again, Vork's definitely got a place in this
Yeah.
Vulcan faction or this pack. We're talking again. He's placing scan token and shaking off another token, either the red target lock or the battle station from a friend, or not from a friendly, from an enemy ship. So it's good either way. Cheap crew, 2 points. That's pretty good ability for 2 points. All right, let's.
You could also have fun with rebellion.
Oh
Pull
yeah,
stuff
Mm.
off of the ship, get the scan token, and then attack them right back.
that's true too.
Yeah.
All right. Next crew in this pack is T'Pol. It's not T'Pol, T'Pale. Place the Stone of Gull tech upgrade face down under T'Pal for 0 SP. Not to worry, we'll get to the Stone of Gull. Execute maneuver step. After the ship moves, discard this card and target an opposing ship. Discard 1 tech upgrade equipped to the target ship, and flip the Stone of Gull upgrade under T'Pal face up and equip it to the ship, ignoring restrictions. Range 1 to 2, 2 point Vulcan crew. So, definitely, she's definitely going to get paired with Stone of Gull, no matter what you do. Um, Chris, do you want to take this one?
Hmm. I mean, why would you?
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah. Can we go ahead and pull out Stone Gold because I think that's probably important at this point.
yeah.
It's just
There you go.
all right. So it's 5 SP on anything that's not a Vulcan ship. So
Hmm.
that's also important because it doesn't say a max of 5 SP or anything like that. So you can put T'Pal on any ship and basically get Soda Gull on there, or whatever faction ability you want to put on there. So basically for 3 points.
Yeah,
Um, Soda Gull, place 3 time tokens on this card. Target a crew upgrade equipped to opposing ship. Roll number of attack dice equal to the printed SP target cost of the target crew. If at least one crit is rolled, discard the target crew upgrade. Otherwise, place 1 time token for each hit. So that's basically a 1 in 8. So 1 in 8 times whatever the SP cost of it is, of discarding it, or at least disabling it for a very long time.
yeah,
I think this is a very effective combination of cards. I think this is basically Sonago, unless you're flying a Vulcan ship, you're not going to equip it naked on there, so you're just going to definitely always bring to Pal and have that hidden under her.
yeah. I think it got ran a bunch of times at the Fremont Reformation this season too. I didn't really see anybody use it too effectively,
Mhm.
but I think that was more. It more boils down to how new the card is. And
The range 1 bubble is kind of difficult to kind of get into and kind
yeah,
of decide, because, like, not a lot of people bring a lot of heavy crew, especially crew that cost a lot of points. Like, Spock may be one of them. A few others I can think of, like Angry Worf that converts blanks to battle station, or blanks to hits when you're cloaked. I think that'd be a good one to have against him. Like, you're playing against the foreign with that on him, you get in range 1, it's like, now you think you were just rolling for crits? No. Now their crew is no longer active, so.
that's true. Yeah. David, what you got?
Yeah, my big idea here is how to make Stone of Gaul better,
Mm-hmm.
and that is just give me some more rerolls. Um, and it's well, I have the same ideas for some other cards here, but reroll Julian Bashir. A card that I said was totally worthless a long time ago. Um,
Yeah, coming
but that
back.
it's coming. He's coming back because
5 points.
I mean, yeah, he's 4 points, but it's at any time you can discard this card to reroll any one die. That that has a place. Now I know you're running that instead of the really good 2 point Bashir, but that's why I'm using Esri a whole lot more than I'm using Bashir.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just got to start thinking. Yeah, it all depends on what you're going for. If you're really if you're shooting for the moon and you want that crit, Bashir's the way to do it. If you've seen the way I roll dice, I like a little bit of insurance, and I don't mind having Bashir around to make that better, because he is one of the
So, a way to
very
make it better.
yeah.
It's from the past here.
Uhura is Kelvin Uhura is another one just to get out of that range 1 bubble. Give me range 1 to 2. That's always going to be helpful. Um, and yeah, outside of that, I don't think there's too much more you can do. We don't really have great ways of moving time tokens off of tech yet.
Well, Chris just brought out the benefactor.
Okay.
If you wanna go into that one there.
Yeah, so at the start of the game, place 3 mission tokens on this card, where you're required to place time tokens on one of your other upgrades, any upgrade really. You may discard any number of mission tokens from this card to place 1 less time token for each mission token you discarded. So you could basically get 2 turns of the Stone of Gaul being inactive, so you basically use it almost twice in a row, and then it becomes basically just a regular tech upgrade at that point. But I think this is probably the best way to remove time tokens from a 3 time token upgrade.
Yeah. So that's excuse me. That's definitely interesting. Um, I've never really played with the Temporal Cold War cards like that,
Right?
so
Well,
definitely
unfortunately,
was not on my radar at all.
thankfully, I have an encyclopedic memory for all these cards. So,
Hey, it's not a bad thing. Um, yeah, I think Tapal, you're not going to see her on a regular fleet without Stone of Gaul, no matter what you do.
mm.
It's a natural pairing.
I actually don't think you can. I think that's a required setup for her. But
Yeah,
I guess if you really wanted to buy the Stone of Gaul elsewhere and then also put her in your fleet, you could, but
yeah,
just seems pointless.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to our first elite talent in this pack, and we're talking live long and prosper. Now this is faction locked to a Vulcan captain on a Vulcan ship. From my understanding, that is why the Federation ships are in the cap, and some of the captains are dual factioned. Um, Again, we're not going to get into how sub factions are supposed to work here. That's what I've been told from speaking with Steven over um, speaking with Steven Van Deventer. That's just
The way I've always understood it is it's like a Venn diagram or like a logic thing, right? So
yeah,
like all Vulcan ships are Federation ships, but not all Federation ships are Vulcan ships.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this just opens it up so it can be played on those ships. So, activation phase. Discard this card and target an opposing ship at range 1 to 2. Roll 4 defense dice. If at least 3 evades are rolled, the ship and the target ship cannot attack this game round. So this is a different kind of attack cancellation, but it's very hard to achieve.
Yeah. Worth it? Yes, no.
Uh,
Mm.
no, to me, no.
And that exactly, because like just rolling 4 dice right here, let's just see if we actually get it. And this time, no. And that's most times when I roll defense dice are probably going to be that more often than not. And then if you happen to have that happen, you're not attacking either. So
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm a big fan of this one.
Yeah,
With all the restrictions on it.
exactly. David, I don't know if you got anything to add on to that, but Chris pretty much laid that out pretty well.
Yeah, I this is one I don't understand the math. I don't like the math, and I have the math degree to say that I don't like the math here.
You are the math guy.
Two evades would have made this at least playable, a lot more playable to me, um, and I really want to stay away from like rewording cards. This is one of the most confusing cards in like the last 3 sets to me, because I wish that it only discarded if it triggered.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because to
So
me,
discarding is the cost to do the
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah,
and that's where there's that disconnect for me. Other than that, um, it's just because it's so restrictive. It's rough, because you're talking three evades, right? Evades are harder to get than a hit slash crit.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking 3 and 8. To get this, you're talking something like it's about 10% odds
yeah,
for this to go off. It's not good.
yeah. Definitely the rule of probability falls in. It's
Uh,
just not. It's not in your favor either way.
no, and you can do things to make your dice more likely, right? Reroll Julian Bashir, but
Yeah,
why would I do that when I can use it on something that's more likely to help me, like the Stone of Gaul?
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And again, you bring up reroll Bashir. I mean, you use it. Say the demonstration that Chris just did with the defense dice on the screen. He did get 2 evades, a blank, and a battle station. So if he did reroll Bashir, but you didn't get the evade on the reroll, you just spent what 7 SP to do that.
Yes,
It's costly. Um,
it's very, very costly.
So I think we're pretty much in agreement. We just kind of move this over to the side
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
here.
Okay, so this next elite talent, I'm going to preface this right now because there's been a lot of talk about this card. I did reach out to Steven today, earlier, and I did ask. There is, just so that everyone's aware, there is a Wharf ruling that they are working on, coming for this card specifically. Um, there's no timetable as to when that's happening. Just know that there is something coming because the wording here is weird, and they do realize that. So, logic is the beginning of wisdom. Activation phase. Target a ship, range 1 to 2, place a time token, continuous effect token, or permanent effect token from the ship or a card equipped to the ship on the target ship or a card equipped to the target ship of the same type. And it's faction locked to Vulcan captain, Vulcan ship. 2 points. So, with that being prefaced, David, why don't you start on this one?
Yeah, so the part of it that makes complete sense to me is the time token aspect. So that's where I'm going to talk about. And
Yeah.
I really like moving time tokens around. I think this is something that doesn't get done enough. Um, And we were kind of talking about this at the end of Boldly Go last week, but I've now blanked on the Federation or it's the independent crew, Tiro Anis
Oh,
or
yeah,
Anitis.
yeah.
He is one that in combination with this, you are now stacking time tokens and you can shift time tokens around and you can do a lot of really interesting things to mess with your opponent's plans of what upgrades they get to use. And I like that. That's a pretty simple combo. Just logic is the beginning of wisdom and Tiro, and I think that works pretty well.
I think probably the best way to kind of discuss this with at least what I consider a permanent effect token, love crystals.
Mm.
I think it's
Yeah.
probably if you somehow get love crystals on your ship and you have logic, speed, and wisdom, I think I could move a love crystal from my ship to whoever ship I want to put that on. Then if I disable one of my crew on my ship, then it's disabling that crew as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Discarding, you know.
I don't see why that wouldn't work. See, I think that's the part where we're waiting on clarification is exactly what is a continuous effect token and what is a permanent effect token. And
Right.
do they actually do anything? Again, another conversation for another video and another day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like where you're going with that because love crystals can. I've never actually seen it done in play, but in theory, love crystals can really bog you down, kind of like triple tokens. I mean, that's another
Mm-hmm.
thing to think of too.
Double tokens. Those are continuous effect, I believe, or permanent effect. Well, no, continuous effect because I don't know. See, there's never been no definition of this. Like I have a box, like a literal like size box full of those hexagonal chit tokens that you would get from like any faction pack or any pack that you would get for over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they are. Do I have to find those or not use those, or do I just like replace it with a mission token to kind of continue the same effect? Or
Right. So I did put Tiro up on the screen. That is the combo that David was talking about. The only other card um, that I would combo with this, and this is strictly speaking to what David was talking about with the time token aspect of it, because if you think about it, you can free a lot of your weapons up that way, and then bog down your opponent's weapons, because everybody's bringing weapons, right? At
Mhm.
least you would hope so. Um, the independent captain lore, where it's been ruled that it doesn't matter what restriction it is, lore breaks it. So he could bring logic as the beginning of wisdom with him on any ship.
Mhm.
So he's another option that opens that card up to all ships, but you got to take lore. Um, but you can definitely put him in a fleet that's designed to bog down, you know, an enemy fleet with tokens upon tokens of other stuff. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see a build that's like that. All right, so I think we've talked about this one pretty well. So let's move on to the first weapon, the aft particle beam. Four attack dice. Attack. Place 2 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship. Range 1 to 3. This is faction locked to Vulcan ships only. Rear firing arc. 2 points. Chris, you want to go ahead and start with this one?
Oh, the Decur. Right, right. They might as well just put this only on the Decur. Like,
Yeah.
unless they make some other Vulcan ship that has a rear firing arc, because Intrepid doesn't have a rear firing arc, the Decumbra doesn't have a rear firing arc, the Surik class does not have a rear firing arc. Only the Decur class even has a rear firing arc to fire this weapon out of.
That's a good point.
So,
I didn't even think about that.
I do like it. That ship. I mean, 2 time tokens of rear attack and 4 attack dice, which is pretty much better than your primary weapon. So, and given that how those ships don't exactly turn on a dime, I think this is a fairly decent staple to put on one of those ships.
Yeah. Um, I mean, you can pair it with what arsenal and hit it every turn if you need to.
There's a better weapon in this pack I'm going to pair with Arsenal, but
Okay.
we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Just speaking of getting rid of that, making a 1/1 time token. Yeah. David, do you got anything to add?
Nope. It's the nice way to use it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, this one's pretty sweet and simple. I mean, it's a weapon. It's a weapon for Vulcans. I think they had an F particle beam, and this seems to be a little bit of a redesign of an older card. Um,
It's cheaper, more effective.
Cheaper.
The
It's got
last one was disabled.
Yeah. Disable definitely hurts weapons. I like that it's range 1 to 3. A rear firing arc. I mean, it's definitely meant for the after the joust, unless you're
Yeah,
flying to be away.
the old one was a disable 3 point, not Vulcan locked,
Yeah.
or a 3 point disable range 1 point, still range 1 to 3. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
might have been nice to get the 3 die as well for a point with time tokens, but yeah, beggars can't be choosers.
Right. Just for reference, I am throwing up the models of the 2 Vulcan specific ships. And Chris is. Well, I didn't doubt Chris at all, by any means. But he is correct. The Syrah class does not have a rear firing arc, and the Jakir is the only one that does. So that is. I guess that you can't really see it. There we go. So that's definitely an interesting take. I didn't even think about that when I was looking at this card. So that is.
It's like having the Volk or the Romblian independent captain that can only go on the drone ship, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yes, technically you are correct, but why?
Yeah, you're restricting yourself for no reason. Yeah. Um, all right, so moving on to the next weapon. It is 1 per ship, photonic autocannon, 5 attack dice. It is
Mhm.
faction lock, Vulcan ships only, forward and rear firing arc. Attack if the ship has a scan token beside it. Place 3 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship. Convert all battle stations into hits. Uh, Cost of 3. Chris, I know you've got a pretty. I know you're excited to talk about a combo you've got with this one.
So I've been using this fairly extensively. My last game was pretty much just 3 Decker classes with each with photonic cannon and an initiative 1 captain.
Mm-hmm.
And then if with Picard with battle station, basically the Picard that places everybody with a battle station and the Reliant following behind them.
Yep.
So yeah, it just basically I like guaranteed results. I like not having to have a battle station or to have a battle station. So -1 defense dice. It's a secondary weapon, so you're not getting the range bonus anyway. And not to mention on the Decker class, as we mentioned, you have 270 degrees of firing arc. Just covers everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like the idea of Arsenal. Let's see, where did that get off to?
It's
Oh,
yeah
there it is.
in that stack. Yeah, and I did play against that fleet, and I mean we said it already that I thought you used those Dakirs fairly effectively. Um,
Hmm.
it did a lot more
Yeah.
damage than I was expecting.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And I was even reading the card wrong. I thought it was convert blinks to battle stations like the Federation torpedoes. No, it's convert battle stations to hits.
mm.
So I wasn't even playing the card right. So again, reading is hard.
David, do you have anything to add?
Um, the only thing I'd want to do is have some way of interacting with my blanks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Some kind of captain that gives me a target lock. I feel like there's a Vulcan captain that does it. I do not have an encyclopedic memory about this. Uh,
What we just talked about.
but fortunately I have Utopia.
Yeah,
Is that?
there's Maroc. You can use Maroc.
I guess I could use Solok to get a free scan,
Mhm.
and then target lock is my normal action.
The Gorn Captain Solar that converts a blank to a battle station or a battle station to a hit would work.
I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha Herojin would work well, yours, converting a blank to a hit anyway.
Yeah,
Yep.
because you don't need to. You're probably not going to have a lot of blanks.
Mm.
Although being able to re-roll your blanks, still get battle stations, convert your battle stations, it's not bad. The con that converts battle stations to crits might be nice, but
Hmm.
I think you do have to spend a battle station to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could probably do the math better than I can, but statistically, you should be getting at least 4 results on that attack.
Yes.
If you have one blank conversion.
If you have one blank conversion, yeah, I think it's 4 or it's really close to 4. So, yeah, you don't have to do a lot to make this work well. And with that scan built in, your opponent's defending against less.
Mm-hmm.
I might include a ship that's removing tokens in some way,
Mm-hmm.
just to help with some of that built-in evade that we're starting to see more of.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, photonic autocannon's a pretty good weapon. Again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh, hold on. Chat just had a good suggestion, and I agree. Let me pull the card here. You can leave Arsenal out there.
Oh.
Because the combo that they came up with was Arsenal and so it's either scaled up Kalana.
Hmm.
Yep. Fire every time.
Yep. So now Arsenal's taking one of those time tokens and Kalana saying place one fewer. So one time token for each, and you're playing it pretty much every time you're getting to fire it. That's a pretty good use.
I like this. I think this is good. I think this is good right here.
Yeah.
And just need to get a second scan token from somewhere. So, which we have a tech
Data
upgrade that
Heroic.
allows us to do that. Yep. Well, you already using the crew slot for Kalana.
Oh, yeah.
So you have using tech upgrade that gives you the second scan token. So, which we have plenty of.
Yeah.
Every turn, shields. What shields?
Yeah. So yeah. I know, David. You're not in the tabletop simulator. So Chris is pairing Photonic Autocannon, Arsenal, Kalana with the Vishar.
I like it. Good stuff.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good build right there. Let's get the camera reset.
Yeah. All at like, what, 35-ish points?
Yeah, somewhere out there.
Not bad at all. Alright, so the next card we've got in the pack here is Catrick Arc. It is faction locked to Vulcan ship only. When a Vulcan crew upgrade equipped to the ship is discarded, place that crew upgrade beneath this card. Action, remove this card from play. Equip one crew upgrade beneath this card to this ship. Discard all other crew upgrades beneath this card. That is a cost of 2. So Chulak definitely loves this. Chulak is paired well with this, just because if you don't have any other crew and you discard him, you can at least tuck him underneath this. I think it suffers from it being an action more than anything. But you can get a second playing of Chulak. David, how about you take the lead on this one?
Yeah, I like it with some of the other Vulcan crew as well. I was looking at older Vulcan crew like Kos and Kov. Kos bring back protection of your upgrades later on in the game.
Yeah.
Kov, yeah, it's another action, but then you get another chance to repair up to 2 damage to your ship, hull or shields. Yeah, this is just kind of a get another use out of one of those expensive crew. And
Speaking of expensive crew, I would get another use out of. What's Spock go off to? Had him. Animation Spock.
but he's not Vulcan.
I know, that's what I was going to point out.
Yeah.
Like, why would I have this amazing card I can only use once, or it allows me to bring back Vulcan crew, but none of the Spalks are Vulcan?
That's a
That's
good point.
Yeah, that is a downer.
I pulled it out, I was making the card larger, and all of a sudden he disappeared on me. That's yes.
It's probably because Spock never served with the Vulcan Science Academy. He went to Starfleet. I gotta make up the lore reason. I'm trying.
Well, it's the one I was thinking of was the one that allows you to not have your attack canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure where he got off to.
I was making him bigger, and then all of a sudden he just woof, disappeared. Let's do this then. But that's when we see your camera, damn it.
Whoa, what happened?
Oh well. I hit undo, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm trying to find the card. Oh well.
Don't hit undo on Tabletop Simulator.
No, I fixed it in X-Wing, I just haven't got around to doing that for Attack Wing, so.
Alright, there we go. Camera's reset. Okay. Let's see. Predator has got a question. What about the Vulcan captain that brings crew pack? Sopak.
Oh yeah, I love Sopek. Sopek's more of the I need this back all the time. Catrick Ark's more of a I have a few crew that I'm discarding in this game, and at some point I want to make a choice of who I'm going to bring back. It's almost like the DNA encoded messages version of Vulcan crew.
Yeah.
Right. But the question then becomes is how many of those Vulcan crew are really worth bringing back?
Not many right now. Koss actually is, I think, just because he prevents one interaction from your opponent onto your ship.
Yeah.
And so
there's also the Dominion captain's able to bring back discarded crew as well. I think it's a better. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
There's Kov and Koss.
I mean, Koss is definitely my preference as opposed to Kov, but
yeah, because I mean, what Koss can save you from Jennifer Sisko?
Yeah, at least part of.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember all the rulings on Koss, and I don't need to get into them. But
well, I think the errata for Koss was that he gets discarded.
Yeah, he does. If he protects any of his upgrades.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because the card that's on tabletop is it's the physical copy of the card, so the errata text isn't there yet. Something we're working on fixing, but so Koss would get discarded if you protect. Say you're in a meta where you're seeing a lot of Jennifer Sisko's second of fives. You could definitely use Koss to save something from being affected at the start of the game, and then bring him back round one if you need to protect against second of five.
True.
So it's cheap. There's not a lot of Vulcan crew, as you guys said, to really hide underneath it. It's a niche card, I would say. Not terrible, just niche. The next tech in this pack is the combat vessel variant. It is 1 per ship, Dakir and Surak class locked. You may not equip the science vessel variant tech upgrade to this ship. Replace this ship's primary weapon value with its printed primary weapon value plus 1. 2
Mhm.
points. So here we go. We're ramping up attack for Dakir and Surah classes, at least. Chris, do you want to go ahead and talk about this card a little more?
Yeah, I think the best thing that this plate pairs with is photon torpedoes, Federation photon torpedoes, because it makes a 5 dice attack fairly easy. That you fire in many directions on the tour at least.
Yeah.
Sirak, I have yet to find a good reason to put this on there, or really even to take one. I was kind of expecting there to be at least one of these in the pack. Kind of like I was kind of expecting. Honestly, I was expecting the Intrepid to be a Sirak class with that ability. To be honest.
Yeah.
Kind of a good support ship. Not really there to attack or do damage, just kind of there to pass out tokens. But yeah, I think this is a solid upgrade on on basically your Decur classes. Third classes, they're too expensive to really be worth taking, even with the 3 primary weapon.
Yeah.
You have to add the weapon slot basically in order to equip Type 8 or upgraded phasers. So
That's true. That would have been nice if this card did add that slot, though. I mean, it's a combat vessel variant. It should have. But, David, what do you...
it's basically Type. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was basically just going to say it's basically Type 8, but in a tech slot.
That's a good way of looking at it. David, do you got anything to add to this card?
No, it's one of the rare places I could have seen it would have been on a discounted Surrock, and if we get that someday, then perhaps we can revisit it. But on a Dakir, yeah, I'm with Chris. Put it on a Dakir, any Dakir, really. Maybe not the Talkir. That's a defensive ship, and benefits more from the science vessel. We'll talk about it. Um, but yeah, put it on some of these Dakir class ships, the Valshara especially, and put on Fed torpedoes. Go to town.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that in the wharf rulings that we're going to get eventually that they will have something about the Sirach class being recosted because it was
All
originally
the ships
in the
really.
pack.
Oh,
According to Steven, it was originally in the pack and something had happened and they had to change it out with the Constitution class that came with it. So they at least do have a recosting. And we may one day get that recosting.
I wish one day would just get recasting of all the old ships.
That would be
It'd be my
wonderful as
dream.
well. So yeah, I don't think there's really much to add to Combat Vessel variant. It is what it is. It's a good card for the Vulcans to have. Now I do like this little mechanic that they're coming up with, where you have different variants of the vessel. Because there is a prime class in Attack Wing that I think this could work very well with in the Miranda class, where you could have different kind of variant
Mhm.
upgrades. But that didn't come with the Federation pack.
No,
Maybe something in the future. Who knows? Um,
Nebula class works well too. The
yeah,
different
Mhm.
pods.
yeah. Um, so, next card, one per ship, Science Vessel variants. Again, Dakir Surak class locked. You may not equip the Combat Vessel variant of tech upgrade to the ship. Add 1 to the ship's agility value and 1 to the hull value. That's pretty good. David, do you want to talk about this card first?
Yeah, I mean the best place I see it is on the Talkir.
Mm.
Because that's a ship that naturally is defensive, uh, and so you're giving it an ability to be more defensive.
Yeah,
It's not amazing, but if you're going with that kind of a defensive fleet, then this helps you do that better. Because if you're going to be absorbing damage, who wouldn't prefer a 3-2-6-4 to a 3-1-5-4?
yeah, that's true. You can definitely pair this with T'Pol. Is it was it? Yeah, it was T'Pol who, used scan tokens to evade. So
Yeah.
Is that really worth, at that point, 36 points?
It may not. It may be costly, and I don't know if I would run it, but it's something that exists. Something that's a possibility.
Might be mission play
Yeah,
rather than like a forefront OP
Right.
tournament style play.
yeah. Do you got anything else to add to this card, Chris?
No, pretty good.
Okay. So yeah, I think these variant cards they add a little flavor to the Vulcan ships, and they each really stand on their own. They don't need to be comboed with anything because they flavor the build for you. So the next tech upgrade in this pack is translinear sensors. When attacking during the roll defense die step, if there is a scan token beside the ship, place 3 time tokens on this card. The defending ship may not roll more than 2 defense dice this attack. Oops. Very interesting. Chris, take the lead on this one, will you?
Oh my goodness, my cloakers, my poor cloakers, no! Why would I only want 2 agility? I mean, you pair this with somebody that just, like, absolutely hammers a cloaked ship. Yeah, the scimitar's going to be very sad. Sutherland's will be sad. Just like anybody who relies on just throwing a lot of defense dice and modifying those, this makes it very sad.
Here we go.
Mm.
Enterprise A. Talk about somebody who wants to punish cloakers.
Yeah, that's a solid combo. And then you'd want to put it with
Right?
Shulok so that you get your multiple scans.
Oh. Yeah, because then you can make them roll nothing, right? If I'm reading that right, yeah.
Yeah. You replace whatever amount of dice they were rolling with 2. Then you subtract 2 with the scan tokens.
Yeah, so translinear sensors is definitely by cloaked ships. As you said, Scimitar is very sad. Klingons are sad.
Yeah, I think translinear sensors is more a, all right, I'm dropping out a cloak.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My shields are more valuable than just not dying with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good spot for translinear sensors is on the Enterprise A. Really, nothing more to add to it. It's a pretty good card. The next tech upgrade is the Graviton Telescope. When attacking, deal the damage during the deal damage step. If there is a scan token besides the ship, disable this card to add a hit. Okay. David, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. So I went hunting and I found the emergency medical hologram. The crew version, presumably because more ships are going to have an open crew rather than double tack. Some have double tack.
Mm-hmm.
That says when you use a tech upgrade that requires you to disable it, you may disable this card instead. Well, if you have a disabled crew, now we have lovely ways to get rid of a disabled token on crew. Julian Bashir, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And it works really well. And with that neat little combo, you can add an extra hit every time you attack, assuming you have a scan token.
Yeah. I see your emergency medical hologram, and I raise you 1 Miles O'Brien.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking originally.
Who takes
Move the disable token.
Yep. Who moves the disable token from the tech to himself in the planning phase, and then the activation phase, Julian Bashir just tosses that out the airlock.
Okay.
It's a neat little combo there. I think emergency medical hologram works too. Oh, the chat has recommended Alyssa Ogawa.
Yeah.
Mirror version of her. Chris, do you got anything else to
Uh, basically anything that just removes that disabled token just is really effective. Just a way of just adding damage. Find a way to stack that and just pile on the damage.
Yeah.
So go. Yep.
And this could also work nicely on the Vishar.
Yeah.
You would
Man,
need
this is actually
multiple
much better.
scan tokens.
You want it? So, like, you remove the disable token with her action, and then you perform the scan action, and you
Oh.
recycle this over and over again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ogala.
Sure, it's not even needed.
Yeah. Ogala makes this. I mean, depending on the ship you put it on, a 4 or 5 point engine. That's pretty good.
All right. Anybody got anything else?
Nope. Sorry, I was talking. My mic was muted. No, I think you put this into a fleet like we talked about the other day, where you're just piling on the hits. Um, that fleet that's you're going to be running the new Kang in. Um, really, just the hit me hard fleet. Really.
Yeah.
Well, they're also saying animated Kirk could work with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can. Okay, so
Oh,
you
Battle
run
Station Kirk.
you run
You can do
animated
it crew
Kirk.
action.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I see you.
That's an interesting engine. That's a good combo. That's a great find from the chat right there. Okay, let's get. Whoops. All right. Let's get the next card out here. So we are moving on to our ambassadors in this pack. Zooming in because the text is tiny on this. Alright, so we've got Ambassador Valar. Negotiations accepted. Disable an upgrade of the opponent's choice equipped to the ship with a printed SP cost 3 or less, and an upgrade of your choice equipped to the target ship with a printed SP cost of 3 or less. Both ships must have an upgrade with a printed SP cost 3 or less for negotiations to be accepted. Negotiations denied. Discard a crew upgrade equipped to the target ship. She's 3 points. No faction penalties. Chris, what do you think about Valar?
Not a fan. At the worst, you accept negotiate. At the best, you just accept negotiations, and then you're mildly inconvenienced for your opening turn.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't deny negotiations, and then well, of course, when you kill the ship that Valar is on, you lose your crew anyway. But
Well, as
you
long
might as
as
well.
long as you don't use the targeted ship to kill it.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those things where I think, and David might agree with me, where ambassadors kind of go off the rails.
Yeah.
Where it's not. I mean, why would you deny this? There's no reason to deny it. If you can accept it, accept it. It's just a minor inconvenience. I don't know if you got anything else to add, David.
This is so far the only ambassador that feels bad.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Chat saying, technically speaking, you could force someone to deny negotiations. Yeah, you could. You could do that. And she turns into a Gen Cisco.
Oh, she turns into worse than a Gen Cisco. She turns into a start of game 2nd of 5.
You're right.
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking of.
Limited. I mean, crew only, but she turns into a start of the game. Hey, that crew that you wanted, you don't have that crew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just I'm thinking of the builds I've run with Fremont. I don't think I've ever run a build that doesn't have at least true crew on it, and one of them one of them is always under 3. Cause you mean you run Hood Riker a lot, so yeah,
Yeah.
you could force. I guess the
The
question,
upgrades has to be under 3 or less. The crew that you discard doesn't have to be cost restricted.
right? Yeah. Um,
So it doesn't.
I guess maybe they see this is where it gets dicey because now in return does her ship have to have a
3
crew of
upgrade
3?
cost upgrade is part of the
Yeah,
cost.
yeah. So she's got no. If she doesn't have any crew on her ship,
Then it doesn't seem like
It doesn't have to be
anything
crew.
that
It could be any upgrade that's 3 or cost. The upgrade 3 or less.
oh sorry, yeah, okay,
right. But so what if you run a Romulan science vessel
just her.
with just her
Hmm.
and a captain?
That's the rules question.
Yeah.
Does the cost, because you have to. The cost would part of the cost for negotiations accepted would be that you have to be able to pay part of that cost as negotiations accepted. Otherwise, you force negotiations to fail, and then you just basically just discard a crew.
Yeah. Mm,
Makes this card a bit better. That's how
yeah.
it could be ruled.
Yeah, this is probably another one of those cards that it's in the pipeline. Eventually, we'll get a ruling. Um,
Now, I will say that just Vlar's existence makes Damon Solok and cryogenic stasis much more important
mm,
because now you can
hiding crew.
protect your crew. Your crew don't even exist to start the game,
Yeah.
so they can't be discarded.
Yeah, Genesis effect. Uh, that's one if you know you're
I
playing with
mean,
planets.
this is pretty much just like anti-quirk grief right over here. Like, okay, I could disable quirk. I mean, that's probably the best option. But for some reason, if that's ruled that I have to have it to upgrade, I disabled over you accept negotiations. I basically just discard quirk at the start of any game.
Yeah, you take out that element of surprise. I mean, you nothing
It's
nothing
surprise.
good's ever
No
hit.
one's ever surprised. It's either protected stasis field or shield adaptation.
True.
But
True. Um, yeah. So I think we should probably move on from her. Um,
yep.
she's muddied. I don't like that you could force someone to deny negotiations, but that's what it is. Um, so the next ambassador on the list is Saval. Negotiations accepted. For the rest of this game, if the ship moves within range 1 of the target ship, or the target ship moves within range 1 of this ship, place an Ox power token besides the ship that moved. Negotiations denied. Make an attack against the target ship with a 3 attack dice that cannot be modified or re-rolled. David, what do you think is... Oh, go ahead.
Hey, David, go ahead.
This feels pretty balanced. I mean, I don't love taking a 3 dice attack, but it's cloaked minds. It's just gonna hit me.
But you do get to defend against it.
Yeah, I get to defend, so it's not all that bad. And okay, some Ox power tokens. Saval at least feels strategic in how I'm going to attempt to implement it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to. Sorry, I'm looking up the captain. Yeah, I want to try to combo Ambassador Saval with Captain Solok and be able to look at my opponent's maneuver to try to sensor echo into their way so that they move within range 1 of my ship.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of combo play here. And I want to move early and make them come into my range.
I think you put him on this ship too. This ship does not care about stress tokens at all if you accept negotiations.
NXL1.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Saval actually feels like he could add a different strategic element to the game, and I wouldn't necessarily say more fun, but more challenging.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, his negotiations accepted feels like what Verderon Pulse Trap, pretty much.
A little bit. A
Nego-
moving Verderon pulse trap.
yeah, negotiations
One shot, but
denied
yes.
is Cloaked Minds, as you said.
Mines.
Just the one time though. Um, I mean, for this, I feel like you at least have an option with this admiral. Say you're running Ben Cisco, and that's the ship they targeted. Well, Ben Cisco can toss those oxes aside, no problem. And I think the thing that needs to be said is that Saval works both ways if you accept the
Mm-hmm.
negotiations. So if the opponent ship is at range 2 and you move forward and now you're in range 1, you get the ox. Saval's ship gets the ox.
That's why I choose to put him on this chariot right here.
Yeah, yeah, because as Chris said, the NX-01 does not care about ox power. Or,
We call it the stress prize.
yeah, or there's the original Tiny Price that doesn't care about ox. And you still get your action with that one. I mean, either way, either or. I like Saval much better than Valar in
Hmm.
terms of strength of Admiral. I don't know if you got anything else to add to it, Chris.
No. I think just a matter of like, which one do you choose? I think this is actually really the only ambassador where I feel like this is a legitimate like toss up choice. Which one your opponent's going to do? Every other one feels like there's situational, but there's an obvious choice whether you accept or deny negotiations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, that is the last card in the faction pack. So we are just under, just crossed the 1 hour 50 minute mark on the stream. We had a good amount of people watching, so I do thank you guys for tuning in. Chris, thank you for joining us tonight.
Very welcome.
Um, I don't know if you're familiar with the Captain's Table book series at all, but in the book series, the captains that do sit at the table, their drinks are paid for. The only thing they have to do to pay that tab is to tell a story. I'm not going to make you tell a story, but I will ask you, um, what's your favorite combo that you're running in the game or that you have run in Attack Wing?
Oh, let's see here. My favorite, this actually probably goes back to a story too, but it's probably the Vorn with Chang on it.
Mm-hmm.
With Admiral Garon, like just being able to do a pre-position sensor echo, do a hard turn one direction or the other, and then just simply sensor echo again with a battle station, and just simply absolutely smack something in at range one. Just an absolute joy. I did that to great effect at one of the national tournaments, and had one of the most interesting and enjoyable games I've ever had with Joseph Endriat versus him, playing against him with that particular fleet.
That's awesome. I think you brought that Vorn to one of your plays at Grand Rapids too, and it was pretty.
I bring it fairly often. Well, I tried to stop bringing it at Grand Rapids because you just couldn't deal with it, and I wanted to be nice.
I
So I
mean,
brought.
you're pretty much the reason why everyone started playing Vorns either way.
Sure.
Um, how about you, David? What's been your favorite combo in Attack Wing that you've used?
Uh, I go back to the old ruling on reverse course, which let you change your maneuver every time to do the full astern one or two, and just the
Mm,
position games that you could do with that card um, made the game very different, but opened a whole lot of anticipation and planning up.
Yeah,
I remember doing, I think it was yesterday's Enterprise OP or even In a Mirror Darkly. I also remember a captain's chair, the resource, and I was able to do a uh, full astern with captain's chair. That was a fun little combo there.
yeah, awesome. I think I don't know if I have a technically a favorite combo because I try not to run the same build multiple times. Um, I try to change it up every now and again. Uh, I did bring because of Chris playing with us at Grand Rapids. We did go and we rode together down to 2019 nationals, and Chris, Chris he can vouch for me that I was up late in the night tinkering with my build, and he told me he eventually told me to knock it off and go to bed.
Well, because you were going to change it anyway. It's like it was what it was.
Yeah, right. But because of Chris, I've been playing the Vorn a lot. Um, Even in the Fremont, I've been bringing the Vorn a lot, just because I haven't seen any other people play the Vorn. Um, but I'm really liking the Vorn with reroll core, um, cloaking Wharf and Toral for defense. And a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, I'm also running Admiral Gowron, so I'm getting a battle station. But when I'm using reroll core, I'm not looking to reroll my blanks. I'm actually re-rolling my battle stations that I'm getting in hopes of getting a crit, a hit, or a blank. It feels
Battle
like,
station for defense.
yep, I save the battle station for defense if I need it. Um, it feels like the math comes out better in my favor by doing it that way. But that's been my favorite ship to run so far. I've got others that I ran during that nationals that were fun too, but that's been my most consistent ship, my favorite combo so far. So again, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me tonight. I know it is almost 10:30 here on the East Coast, so it's getting pretty late for Chris and I. Um, Again, thank you to everybody who tuned in. We did get a lot of viewers, so I'm glad to see that the community was out here and the chat was going. Thank you guys for watching these, and we will be back on Friday at the same time, and we will have another special guest with us to talk about the Cardassian faction pack. So again, thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with us. We'll see you then. Oh, tomorrow, just a quick plug for the Fremont Reformation League. We do have our Season 2 championship game tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time between Craig and Joseph. So if you've been watching that or following that, check us out then for should be a good matchup between the two. Other than that, thank you everybody. Have a great night.